What is DMAIC? DMAIC is an acronym which is the foundation to the Lean Six Sigma methodology. Let's dive into each phase of DMAIC. We created DMAIC and Cheese, a case study in which we will apply the 5 phases of DMAIC to the process of making mac and cheese for a friend.
Let's meet our customer and operators. Our customer is our friend Marco. Our operator 1 is Alyssa and operator 2 is Hanna. Our customer Marco does not like our product, the mac and cheese. Our CTR, complete transaction rating, is less than 1, therefore we are not conforming to Marco's needs. CTR is just one tool within the DMAIC approach of problem solving.
Let's start with phase 1. Define.
We have to ask ourselves a few questions first.
What is the problem that we really have to fix?
Marco doesn't like the mac and cheese.
What are our customer critical to quality or CTQ requirements, and how are we meeting them?
In this case, we found that Marco's CTQ requirements are flavor, texture, smell, speed, and presentation. We found the CTQ by using VOC CTQ devices. You can use surveys, focus groups, points of observation, etc. In this case, we use points of observation.
What customers are being affected by the problem?
It's Marco.
What are the key processes involved in the problem?
We've narrowed down our process to preparation, cooking, and serving. The ingredients we'll need are shredded cheese, pasta noodles, milk, spices, water, a pot, a strainer, a bowl, a spatula, measuring cups, olive oil,
and a fork.
Let's make this mac and cheese. Our process. According to quality guru H. James Harrington, measurement is the first step that leads to control and eventually to improvement. If you can't measure something, you can't understand it. If you can't understand it, you can't control it. If you can't control it, you can't improve it.
This brings us to our next phase, measure.
The only measurement in our process is the cheese. We will be applying this phase of DMAIC to measuring the cheese.
We can measure our process in 4 ways. The first way is accuracy, the degree of variation in the measurement of a given device and the actual values of the part measured.
The device in our case is a measuring cup. The degree of variation would be how much the cheese overflows or doesn't fill the measuring cup.
The second measurement is precision, the degree of variation in the measurement of given devices when measuring the same part repeatedly.
Here's precision and accuracy applied to throwing darts at a target.
The third type of measurement is reproducibility, the degree of variation when different operators measure different parts using the same device. The fourth way to measure is repeatability, the degree of variation of one operator measuring the same part with the same device repeatedly.
Here we can see our operators performing gauge verification for repeatability and reproducibility by measuring and recording data for multiple runs of this step in the process.
Quality guru Katsuyoshi Ishihara said, "Do not let the tiniest problem escape your notice. Remember, little brooks grow into mighty rivers." This brings us to the third phase of DMAIC, analyze. Evaluate and focus in the most critical to quality variables and identify the root problems hindering the process.
As we mentioned earlier, our CTQ variables are flavor, texture, smell, speed, and presentation. If we analyze one of these variables, flavor, we can create a fishbone, YY diagram, or solution path to find that the problem is with the spices. There's too much red pepper.
Let's never see this clip of Marco throwing up ever again. Let's talk about the fourth phase of DMAIC, improve. In this phase, we reduce variation and eliminate defects in process.
When Marco asks us to make dinner, we could have all of the ingredients laid out in one place, rather than retrieving them from various places.
The fifth and final phase is control. To sustain the improvement efforts made in the improvement phase and to make sure the process does not veer away from its set improvement goals.
To quantify sustained improvement, we could use a control chart. As you can see from this example, control charts give us a lot of information, including the upper control limit and the lower control limit.
Knowing that your process is stable and predictable can help establish control and specification limits to maintain them from any future samples taken from the same process. According to Black Belt Gordon Rivera, initial costs of a DMAIC improvement project might make some managers squeamish. However, cost savings in the hundreds of thousands of dollars are not uncommon for a single DMAIC improvement project.
Because what's better than mac and cheese?
DMAIC and cheese.